Hey everyone. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we are in the college bowl season as we speak. We do have one more regular season game to go, but of course that's a game that gets played on its own. It's given a day all to itself, and that's the Army-Navy game, which I will see and hopefully record come Saturday. But with that said, I thought I'd read off some of the college bowl games that are out. Now, we do know the college football playoff Final Four that has been named for the respective bowl games. Now, last year when this was announced, this system, I was not really much in favor of it, in my opinion, because, in my own opinion, I wasn't much in favor of it due to the fact that you're essentially taking two marquee bowl games each year, and you're just using them as semifinals. In a sense, you're making them become meaningless, if you will. But after watching some of the games last year, I came to realize something that I thought earlier, and I even mentioned this in a video where I talked about it, that even though it feels like they're making those bowl games insignificant or meaningless, in a sense, it's still kind of like, it's basically looking back on it, even though I wish they would just separate the bowl games from the system, the teams that win these bowl games, they become champions. They become the champions of that bowl game, but the bigger prize awaits them. It's like they've won one championship, now they got to win the next. It's kind of like with the Final Four in basketball. You know, it's like you have the West region against the South region, if you will. You have the South region champ against the West region champ in a semifinal match, and the winner of that takes on the East and Midwest region, takes on the winner of the East region Midwest region champion matchup. But in this case, it's bowl games. Yeah, you become the winner of your bracket of, what is it, 68 teams, 64 teams initially. You become the winner of your bracket of 32, overall, and you get a chance to, compete for the national championship. But there's a difference between that and football. Here, yeah, you're competing to become a champion of a bowl game. But in a sense, you're also competing to advance to the national championship. It's like, yeah, you're taking the Orange Bowl, like with Alabama, like with Oklahoma and Clemson. They're going to face each other in the Orange Bowl. And yeah, they'll get to take that Orange Bowl trophy, whoever wins it, and they'll be able to mount it in the Hall of Fame, if you will, of trophies that they've gotten, of bowl game trophies that they've won. But they won't be able to do that until they win the big one. Well, they'll be able to do that because they'll have a break between then and now. Between that time, and they'll have basically a 20-day break. Well, not a 20-day break. Essentially an 11-day break, if you will. So between that time and January 11th, yeah, they'll have time to take the Orange Bowl trophy, put it in the trophy case back at the university in the Sports Hall of Fame. But still, it's like the season's not done, because initially when you do that, you accomplish something. You become a champion, but your season's not done. Your season's not done, and it's like you got one more to put in that trophy case. And again, I can kind of see the appeal that, yeah, these people are going to be bowl champions no matter what. That the consolation prize is, yeah, you may have advanced to the national championship and lost, but you can still say that you were bowl champions, even though you're not the national champions. I know it kind of sounds confusing and all that. And again, like I said, as much as I would like them just to take the bowls out of the equation and just separate this from everybody else, I can kind of see the win-win of it. The win-win is, hey, you become a bowl champion with the opportunity to become the national champion, 10 days later, 10 to 11 days later. So I can see the appeal. I can see the marquee. I can see the attraction of that. You win 2 championships within the span of less than 2 weeks. That's a great appeal. But on the other hand, you're kind of taking a marquee bowl game, like say the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, and you're saying, yeah, you guys are great, you're significant, you're important, but you're just stepping stones right now for whatever teams win your bowl championship for them to, basically they're just stepping stones for whatever school becomes the bowl champions, so that way they can go to the national championship. Again, I can see the appeal, I can see the attraction, I can see the win-win situation or win-lose situation. It's like, yeah, win-lose, it's like, yeah, you become a bowl champion, but you don't become the national champion if you lose the national championship. But, silver lining, constellation is your bowl champion. I know, again, it sounds confusing, but that's how I look at it. So I can see the attraction, I can see the marquee, I can see the reasoning for it, and maybe even the logic. But still, in my honest opinion, I think they should take a page out of the FCS and and just go with regular games. Whoever has the better, like with Oklahoma and Clemson. Good example. Oklahoma and Clemson. Take the Orange Bowl out of the equation. All you have to do is have Oklahoma go to Clemson. Face them on their field. And there you go. Same thing with, Michigan State and Alabama. Have Michigan State go to Alabama. And then that way you can determine the winners of that matchup to go to the national championship. And then the runners-up, they'll still get in a bowl game, but they'll get into one of the marquee bowl games. Like, for example, the Orange Bowl. You could do that. Like, okay, you guys didn't win, but guess what? You're still going to a bowl game. You're going to go to the Orange Bowl. And then that leaves the other bowl open for whoever else feels that they should be in this same equation, this same field, this same discussion of a New Year's Day bowl game, of a marquee bowl game matchup. It makes more sense, if you will. And you could add those 2 games on to the Army-Navy Day if you want to. That's the way I look at it. But then again, I'm just trying to make sense of something, and I'm trying to leave the bowl games open for other teams to actually get in there that have a deserving record to do it. And feel and believe they deserve a shot at it. I think in a sense, I believe in my own way, it makes more sense. Have the top 4 teams play each other the following week or so. Have Oklahoma, in this case, instead of playing Clemson in the Orange Bowl, have Oklahoma go to Clemson and play them, because Clemson is number 1. Have Michigan State go to Alabama, because Alabama is number 2, and then go from there. And then let the winners of those 2 playoff games advance to Phoenix on the 11th, where you open the door for the runners-up to face each other in the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, and you leave that other bowl game that's part of the playoff system open for whatever teams believe or feel deserve a shot in that position. Again, it makes more sense to me. But anyway, I'm not in charge of this whole college football playoff system. And hopefully, maybe as the years go on, they'll wake up and realize that if they're going to stick with this marquee matchup of 4 teams in this playoff system, hopefully someone will wake up and realize that they don't need to use the bowl games. They could just treat these as semifinal-like games and have them played on the home fields of the top seeds and then go from there. But I think I've spent a little too much time kind of talking about that. Yeah, 10 minutes, so I do apologize on that. But anyway, getting to the bowl matchups. Getting to this year's bowl matchups. Uh, yeah, like I said, getting to this year's bowl matchups. We start on the 19th of December. We start a week from this Saturday. It's the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. It's Alcorn State versus North Carolina A&T. Now this obviously is a new bowl. It's going to be broadcast around 9 o'clock my time, I believe, on ABC. It's from Atlanta in the Georgia Dome. This is obviously a bowl game between the SWAC champion and the MEAC champion, or the SWAC champion and the MEAC champion, or whatever, the MEC champion, if you will. And we pretty much know the bowl game that is. We pretty much know, and no offense to anybody, because I think it's a great thing to allow these schools to have this kind of opportunity. We've seen this with Southern and Grambling State throughout the years, that around this time of year, these schools, these African American schools, these primarily African American schools, get a chance to do this. And again, I don't mean no offense by it or anything like that. I think it's a great opportunity, and it opens the door for people, for a national, if not a worldwide audience, to see these schools that are in these FCS conferences, or FCS conferences, these playoff schools competing on a national stage. So I think it's a great idea, and I'm kind of surprised, and I'm honestly surprised that they've taken that concept and said, hey, let's make a bowl game out of it. And they've given, in a sense, to me, they've made history here by creating the first FCS bowl game, for two conference champions from an FCS school conferences. So I like that. I like the concept, so it's pretty cool. And like I said, it gives the schools like Alcorn State and North Carolina A&T a chance to show the world on a national, if not worldwide stage, what they can do. So that's the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. I give them thumbs up on that concept. I like it. Really go. Hopefully they'll build from this, and maybe we'll see more FCS schools of different conferences get a chance to be in this same predicament down the line. Well, the 19th of December is going to be a big kickoff of Bowl Week with the Celebration Bowl. But at the same time, with the Celebration Bowl on ABC, I should say. On ABC, I should say. But at the same time, also at noon, 9 o'clock, my time, I believe, CBS Sports Network will be getting, as far as I know, their first bowl game ever. CBS Sports Network will be getting the Cure Bowl, and it will be Georgia State against San Jose State. Georgia State, who not even about a year or two ago started their football program in the FCS, I guess because of the capacity, the attendance, and all that. Basically, the hugeness of the school itself. When it started its football program, basically the attendance and all that, as much as it's grown, Georgia State jumped basically a year after the initial it jumped from the FCS to the FBS a year after their football program debuted in the FCS. They jumped to the FBS, they jumped to the Sun Belt, and I believe that's where they were for most of the time. I think they did jump over to the Conference USA, but I think primarily still in the Sun Belt. I'll have to look that up. But it's San Jose State and Georgia State in the Cure Bowl in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl Stadium, and that'll be on the CBS Sports Network. Following that, at 2 o'clock, which is about 11 a.m. my time, we have the New Mexico Bowl. It'll be a battle of the desert. It'll be Arizona and New Mexico. And this is something that's become very common with a lot of schools out there lately, military or non-military. If they have a bowl game if their school, if their campus, if their football program, basically their school hosts a bowl game, then as we have seen over the past several years, that school, if they are bowl eligible, if they're not in the talk, if you will, of possibly getting into a New Year's Six bowl or a college football playoff or whatever, that school will usually end up hosting the bowl game. They will, well, okay, the school hosts the bowl game, but their football team will be in said bowl game. So in other words, in this case, New Mexico, whose school hosts the New Mexico Bowl, is going to be playing in their own bowl game and against Arizona. So it's basically a home game for them. So that'll be really interesting. And that'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. And then that same day, following the Celebration Bowl, at around 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on ABC, it'll be the Las Vegas Bowl. It's the renewal of a Mountain West rivalry, a very strong Mountain West rivalry. It's BYU and Utah. I believe they did meet earlier this year, so that's really interesting to see these two meeting up again, but this time as bowl opponents and not conference opponents. So BYU and Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl on the 19th. And then following the New Mexico Bowl at around 1:30 p.m., we will have the Raycom Media Coleman Bowl. This will be in Montgomery, Alabama. It'll be Ohio of the MAC Conference against Appalachian State of the Sun Belt Conference. That's right, Appalachian State, who you might remember several years ago, pulled the major upset in Michigan, in Michigan's house, if you will. They're now part of the FBS. They are indeed a Sun Belt Conference, I believe. And they, I believe in the first year, first or second year, I can't really tell. Because I know there's a stipulation that you have to spend 1 year ineligible when you jump from the FCS to the FBS, that you got to spend 1 year of ineligibility before you can be eligible for a bowl game the following year. I don't know if they changed that or not, because as far as I know, this is the first year Appalachian State's been in the FBS as far as they know. So, as far as I know, so it's Ohio and Appalachian State in the Calamine Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. And that'll be on ESPN. And then to round it out, we have the New Orleans Bowl. That'll be around 5 o'clock Pacific on ESPN. That'll be Arkansas State and Louisiana Tech. And I believe these two met last year or so in this game. Oh, was it Arkansas State and Louisiana Lafayette? I don't know. But Arkansas State, Louisiana Tech will meet in the New Orleans Bowl to wrap up the first day of bowl games of the bowl season. And then 2 days later, the only bowl game that's going to be on December 21st will be the Miami Beach Bowl. This will be at Marlins Park in Miami, Florida. It'll be Western Kentucky and South Florida. And sorry, Western Kentucky and South Florida. Western Kentucky, the Conference USA champions, they will be facing South Florida in the Miami Beach Bowl. What, and I have to say this about some of these teams that are in the first, second, or maybe even third years, or first or second years in FBS after jumping from FCS. I have to say they've really come a long way. They've proven that they can compete on the same level as FBS schools and not just be there as cannon fodder for certain schools. Alright, the next day we have two bowl games. We have the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Yeah, Potato Bowl. That thing has a long history in case you want to look it up.